Hello there everyone and welcome back to Napoleon Total War, the Great War mod. First off, I've actually now received a patch specifically because this campaign had problem with the cash flow, really. So now that's actually fixed, and as far as I've seen, it should stick. So that means that I've been able to start projects all over the Empire, which means that I'll hopefully be able to keep up with the timeline and be able to crank out tanks and advanced equipment by the end of the war. Currently, though, it kind of looks like Paris is about to fall, or the French do not have long for this world. As much as I would want to push here, I think we'll go ahead and start with here, just to crush the French as much as possible, taking another territory. So I don't reach all the way, but we're gonna do the same stuff as I've done before. Also, this is a thing that you can do in Shogun 2 Total War as well, because normally the army is a lot slower than the generals. You can detach the general and send him forward as well, and then bring the rest in as reinforcement. But in this case, we're gonna bring up the dragoons to do that for us. And we're gonna have the dragoons start the attack, but of course we're gonna get reinforced by the rest here, and I mean, there's no point in fighting this. We were able to win the fight with only 123 casualties. Also, the passcode to my bank account. How neatly that works out. There's no coincidence whatsoever. Now, I'm kind of fearing that the Spanish will attack us, just because the Italians attacked us, but I don't think so. I think because there's a lot of scripted stuff in this mod. I'm hoping though we might be able to start trading with the Spanish, because soon enough we'll have a complete land route, hopefully, to from our capital to there, without going through ports. So we'll be able to set up trade with the Spanish. Anyways, we just took Bordeaux in the Aquitaine region. Very nice. Now I would want to start building up tracks, just because moving this army all the way back is going to take a while, but maybe not. Then I also have another plan here. I noticed one thing, that these two, I did a test just to see, because I was contemplating whether or not to allow the French to take the town, just because I don't want it to fall into Italian hands. But what I realized here is that this region is actually only attacked by cavalry, and even though the Home Guard is not that good, the Home Guard is about the same number of troops as the cavalry units. So could it be that I could do similarly to what I did with the dragoons as they were marching up here, and in that case be able to defeat the French defending or sieging Marseille. Also, we're gonna send our pilot here, Alfred Manek, or however you want to pronounce that. He's gonna go ahead and take a gander on what's going on in the Normandy region before he heads on down into the main portion of France. So we discover a full stack here. So currently the French, I guess they're banking on us not being able to attack here. It's going to be a hard fight, but I'm pretty sure that with the troops that I have here, I would be able to hopefully attack and destroy the French there. And also because I now have that extra cash, and I've been able to lower the tax levels. I also noted that we probably need to exempt this region, at least for one turn, until the army comes up. But with that, I should actually be able to send some troops out of here, just to defeat these guys. But more importantly, I think I could move troops from this region. If I exempt tax, then we get 3 points, so I would be able to send 3 units towards Paris, and hopefully these 3, once I actually make my attack would actually join in the fight for Paris once that concurs. But I think we'll leave that for next video. What I want to do next is the fight over here. So these guys is the first force trying to bypass towards Strasbourg. Also now, with the fact that I have so much money, I should really spend on increasing troops, especially on the Western Front, because looking at it right now, I'd say the French have more troops than us. And they have more troops in crucial areas, like they're pushing a lot towards here, while my main push is going down through here, so we're kind of bypassing each other there. But with all of that said, I'm going to take this blocking force that I've sent up here, and we're going to take them down and attack on André Marie Ney. So they actually brought quite a lot of artillery, not so much infantry, and then the general is a dragoon. The thing though is they've got siege gun, which means they outrange my artillery. Which means, of course, that I'm gonna have to charge. So this is gonna be a quite difficult battle, in fact. But enough talking. Let's go ahead and attack. Right, so here is the battlefield, and here is my plan. Well, as they've got the artillery advantage, I think the artillery duel isn't going to be something we're going to win in the long run, so that is not what we should focus on. What we should focus on is to close in as quickly as possible and be able to shoot down their artillery as soon as possible. For that reason, I obviously don't want to attack towards the center of the unit. I want to attack the flanks where the cannons are positioned. And also, what I want to do is I want to have my artillery left. So I have specifically placed them so that the enemy's artillery on the side here cannot hit them. But we can hit this piece right here. So I'll be able to hopefully advance pretty close on the side. Also, I think this artillery piece is not going to be the key in what is going to do the most damage, because these guys, of course, they can fire further away than the other ones, but they can that means also that they have like a larger dead area in front of them where they cannot hit compared to these. But only time will tell if my strategy will work out. So really what I want to do is actually focus in on the infantry and slay as much of them as possible, and then have the infantry come in and win the fight by shooting down the artillery once they've come in under their kind of dead zone in front of them. But yeah, it'll definitely be a tough battle, and really we only gotta go forward into the pell-mell, and as they say, either we end up in heaven or hand in hand to hell. With that said, let's storm these fields. Come on. Why is it so difficult for you to march across the bloody field? And then you will march onto here. Oh, look at that! The enemy's artillery on this side is actually relocating. Or they're relocating all their guns. They're setting these guys up though. So that's nice. They managed to lose 2 of the cannons right off the start. We're gonna see what happens with these cannons though. That means also that I'll be able to advance a lot further before they start to target me. So now they only have 1 functioning cannon. Everyone's running right? Yes. Let's see, are they targeting the infantry or are they targeting the artillery? Sounds like they're shooting at the infantry, and that 1 shot missed. Not too surprised. currently bombarding their infantry, which I think is going to be more of a problem than the cannons, especially what it looks like now when they have trouble even setting them up. And this cannon can't even hit us, I said, as it almost hit this unit. So they are setting up some units. This one's close enough for me to fire upon. So I should definitely do that, see if I can take out some of those cannons before they are able to set up. Don't think we'll be able to do the same for this one. Although right now it seems very reluctant to actually set up. I was surprised actually, because they started off ready to fire across the field, but then as the battle starts here, they decide to move their artillery, and currently of course only a single cannon is firing at us. Looks like they're deploying this one. Oh, they're deploying both now, but it's kinda too late for them. It still could be quite difficult, but I'm thinking that we pretty soon are within the dead zone, at least on this side. The problem, of course, is that these cannons can fire over here, and these cannons could be firing over there, and that could cause difficulty. Right now they're actually firing onto my cannons, more so than my infantry. Looks like the French are setting up to start shooting at us. Yep. We're gonna have these two start firing. My troops, having run across the field, are very tired. With this, I should focus on that one French unit over there. At the same time, these should be turning towards this side. Right, we're setting up to start shooting here. Troops are very tired, though. Yeah, let's see this shot, if it's firing against us. Yeah. It's, oh, his dead zone is pretty darn large. If he was firing against us, and his shot landed all the way back here, that's a pretty impressive dead zone for that artillery piece. And now, the rest of his crew was shot down. Thing, of course, here, we still have to remember, our general of sort was killed over there. That's not great. I'll make sure that these guys are targeting... Oh, this artillery piece is now targeting the infantry. I would want to move them so they don't break, but the thing is, I think if I move them back, they might just be start to retreat. Why are these so separated, so far away from each other? Come on. I'll have enough men. We can fire all the way from over here. I guess it's because they're so tired. We'll stop them there and told them to fire at will. Oh yeah, we're in the dead zone now for this artillery piece, or at least for these guys. Heavy shot coming in from them. Have the Jaeger move all the way up to the fence line. The Jaegers are able to... They're able to recover their fatigue pretty darn quickly. The Jaegers are back to active, which is pretty darn good. I guess the artillery should now focus on the single biggest unit, which is the one over here. And then you guys should move forward to this side. Okay, that unit is now defeated.
Glorious victory, sir, is soon to be yours.
Let's make confident steps and advancing closer to the enemy and closing in and destroying them. Should be firing at those guys. And you should try to fire at the cavalry. Looks like both units here are firing into the hill Thing is, my guys are way too tired for me to call a bayonet charge. Oh, the French infantry have given up. Their officer was just shot down. And the rest of the cavalry shot down as well. We were victorious. We were able to stop the first attempt here. In a very important victory, because we took out that artillery piece. That siege gun. Very important that we take that one out. Because of how deadly it is. Just because of its range. But there we go. Still quite heavy losses for our side. But we were able to do it. Of course, a lot thanks to the enemy's indecision and repositioning. Here's the result of the battle. The enemy deployed 850 men against our about 1,000. We lost 221 compared to the enemy, which lost 695, leaving 751 for our side and 161 for the enemy. There's a bit of discrepancy here if you look at what we lost compared to what the enemy killed. So we can see that 60, 70, 81 men were actually killed on our own accord, which I'm not entirely sure how I managed. Stray artillery shot or something, I'm not entirely sure. Highest kills goes to the field guns, no surprise there, followed by infantry. Jaegers didn't actually do that much. And we have one infantry unit, probably the one furthest back on the right side, that didn't lose anyone, but they only killed 36 in the process as well. Interesting, the enemy retreats further in to our territory. With the fact that I'm able to now lower tax, I should actually be able to call out the cavalry. And I don't need them to hold this position to defend it, so I can call them out. Yes. I can call them out and end whatever's left here with an auto-resolve. Key here is, of course, that these troops do not replenish unless they're in a building. So I was able to move everyone except the cannons, but you can see now we get replenishment rather. If we stand in the open, we gain none. So that's good. The only fight I really have left is, of course, pushing forward here. I mean, I could move some troops out of here, maybe, to get the out-resolve on this guy, but I guess that's too much really right now, this fight, because I do not have anything in the east. And I guess this is, given the fact that I've now got the money back, this should also come as a happy note on those that want to see more naval fights, because that means that we can actually start to get some of these ships going, and I can kind of redeem myself by putting them into groups and forming them into nice battle lines as we take the fleet to attack the British. Given also that we're doing so well against the French at this point, I should really be expanding the navy so that we can make an invasion of mainland Great Britain. But I think I will do as someone suggested, by starting kind of going in through the back door, liberating Ireland, creating that as its own. Maybe you can even create Scotland. I know they've basically done almost every province that you can liberate into an own area. So I know, like, you could probably set up tons of nations, will recreate the Holy Roman Empire. Like, absolute crazy everywhere. Anyways, so there's still some enemy ships left, even after that very big fight we had out here in the middle of nowhere. Now I'm kind of sad that I deleted and decommissioned so many of the ships that I had there, and that gained so much experience through that fight. We still have the experienced commander though. For some reason he only has 3 stars. When he's an able seaman he's got all of this. Dead parrot, I don't know why that is so important. And so on. But yeah, there's no fights to be had in Russia, of course, because of the winter, so we're not advancing through there. It looks like the Austrians are advancing there. Typical Austrians. They can't do anything right. Ah yes, what I should see about pursuing is of course getting the Austrians to join in the war against Italy, because right now it's just me fighting Italy. So I'm not entirely sure what I would do. I could, I guess, pay them to go into war with the Italians, because it would be nice if the Italians were fighting on a 2-front war rather than me opening up a kind of a back fight here. Let's see anyways if I can defeat the little army here. It doesn't matter that much, because if it falls into the hands of the French, then it doesn't matter that much. I've already broken it down. Can't recruit any troops. More liability for the French if they have to build up the province again. But what it does is, of course, that it denies the area as an advance for the Italians. With that said, let's attack. So we have 300 loyalists to the Kaiser, Landsturm, against 240 hussars of the French Empire. It's heavily in favor of the enemy, but I don't think that's actually the case. Just because I think the key here is the fire rate of our troops compared to these revolvers, even though they have an accuracy of 55 against our accuracy of 30. But enough talking. Let's slay these dogs. We did actually start with a little town present on the map over there, but the enemy did not take the bait to attack it, so I'm having to go out here to fight them, which I'm going to do. I'm gonna hold the general's unit over here, and I'm gonna get this unit to take the hill, and we're gonna see how this goes. Obviously both results will favor me. I actually think it might actually be better if we lose, just because the Italians, it won't open up the province for an Italian attack. Okay, so the 7th Hussars actually moved back a little bit as I took position on the hill. I'm gonna see if I speed this up a little bit. So just advancing a little bit here and a little bit there, we should be able to open up fire on the enemy. As we can see, we're slowly closing in here. So as I said, what I'm banking on is the fact that we have higher rate of fire than the enemy, and that we actually slightly outnumber them compared to the fact that they have technically better accuracy. It also seems as though we do in fact outrange the enemy. Currently these guys are set up, and you know what, let's start see if we can't do some damage here. It would be hilarious if they're just gonna sit there and take it. Hold. I'm gonna allow them to advance quite a bit. Here comes the first shot of the enemy.
Sir, our general is under attack.
They didn't do much. The enemy's general got shot down. And yeah, really, as it stands, the fire rate plus the range is the key here. Now the cavalry, of course, have the advantage in accuracy and movement speed,
is soon to be yours.
but without being able to without being able to wield that power in an effective way means absolute destruction. Also to note here, people, some were talking about, you know, press the guard mode to have the unit not swivel around to attack units that they weren't really told to attack. They did this anyways, as you can see here. So, yeah, it's a known issue. With that, let's go back to the campaign map. And here's the result of that. We only lost 26 men compared to the French force, which lost every single one of its soldiers. And currently, I hold Marseille. I don't even need to exempt them from tax. If I was really cheeky, I'd burn even more of this province. Now, of course, this does open up for an Italian attack, but I think that I might actually be able to save the region before that. Just because I think with this opening up, this could mean that these guys' priority would be to go down there. But also, since I'm planning the attack on Paris, which is going to take place in the next video, it just throws France into an absolute turmoil, because at that point I would have taken so much of French territory that they would only hold the Normandy region and the Bretagne region, and I can't imagine those two regions would be able to support. And we can also see the war weariness here. So if Paris falls, France literally falls into absolute disarray and chaos. And if I take Paris, I might even be able to force the French to a ceasefire agreement, in which case I would leave some kind of force to defend Paris, as most of the French troops would then end up in the Normandy region, and they could quickly break the ceasefire and try and attack. So I would leave some kind of full stack there, but then the rest of the forces could start heading down to deal with the Italians and start attacking through Italy. But they also do hold Corsica, the French do. That would probably take a while to try and get out there, get a navy into the Mediterranean, and then launch troops against that. But anyways, we were able to secure this region. We were able to end the siege, and we were able to stop the French incursion towards here. Now for the next one, in between, I'll have really just recruited troops. But I think I might be bold enough to dare a frontal attack by these two armies directly on Paris and take it out. With that, we obviously would take out this full stack and then the additional troops around it, which would leave the French army in the hands of these three forces. It could be deadly though, as these could be heading north to reconquer Paris. But I imagine just the war weariness and a number of other factors, and the fact that I wouldn't be able to pay for any of this, given that they've just lost Paris, which has a region wealth of 15,000. Is that more than Berlin? Yes, it's plenty more than Berlin. Berlin only has 6,000 in wealth. But I guess the French region is larger, and I haven't been able to really build on this home region yet. Which, I mean, I have been able to build a little bit on it, but not as much as just the sheer number of stuff in the Paris region. Anyways, enough talking about that. Is there anything else I need to say? No, there isn't. So, with that said, I'll say as I always say, hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and hopefully I'll see you guys for the next one. Bye.
tunnel is under attack. Glorious victory, sir, is soon to be yours.
Repliez-vous et en bon ordre, sergent, s'il vous plaît.